What was that tipping point for you to when you realized that the money was good and it wasn't no turning back from that point going forward?
About 4 years ago, I never felt comfortable saying that I was in the music industry because I've seen so many people get sent home.
Woo!
Like, you got to understand something. I remember the first mansion I went into was this guy who was in the game, and I don't know if I know he's not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
Or he's not in the game like he once was. Because in the music business, let's talk honestly. The music business is an economics thing, right? It's its own ecosystem. So either you're making money, like we know where Beehive gets his money from, right?
Exactly.
So if Beehive stops doing this, he's probably just going to eat residuals off of this, but it's not gonna. But it's going to slowly go down because he's not putting it in every day. So I've seen a lot of people get sent home. So for me, maybe about 5 years ago, about 5 years ago is when I was like, damn, I'm really in the music business. I can call it a career because 5 or 6 years ago was my 10th year in it, making money. And I'm like, and I also figured out I was smart enough. Like, it's so hard being from the hood with no confidence because you'll take whatever somebody gives you.
I feel you.
And that was my story. But because people liked me so much, they gave me more than I expected. Ooh. But once I started figuring out, I knew my shit. I started making more money because I started realizing what I brought to the table and what no one else brought to the table. So about 5 years ago, I was comfortable with saying, man, this is what I do. Like, damn, this is what like, you know how this shit is. It's like, you at the mercy of one person deciding, Beehive, we don't want you here no more.
Come on.
And now you on the outside, hopefully get let back in by somebody else. That's why this is so dope, because you're actually saying, if you do send me home, I'm coming home to my shit.
Exactly.
And I'm okay with living off my shit. And that's a part of, learning, being in the game long enough.
And longevity.
Yeah, and understanding that the system changes and you got to change with it. But I really know what I'm doing, and I really believe that if I was put in any other scenario, that I would succeed. I think if you took, based on how I live my life, I think if you put me in the construction industry or if you put me in any other industry, I would succeed because I know what I know what I don't know. I know I don't have a problem asking questions, and I'm gonna show up every day with a smile on my face. Yeah. And I'm not gonna get mad at nobody for checking me. I'm not gonna get mad at nobody for correcting me. I don't mind that because I understand that somebody knows more. Yeah. Now the person that thinks he knows it all probably is the person that's gonna get sent home soon.
Come on now.
And I just never would allow myself to be the person that thinks he knows it all.
As the CEO of Radar and then a label executive at a lot of different labels, I mean, talk to me about how important it was for you to make sure that Radar had it going on just as much as Ray Daniels, the label executive.
Well, Ray Daniels, the label executive, only served. Okay, so this is why I went into a label. I went into a label because I remember when Sylvia Rohn offered me my first position. I'll never forget. And I remember I had a number in my head. I was like, man, if she offered me this much money, I'm taking that shit. And if she offered me less than that, I'm still taking it. I'm just being honest with you.
I'm with you.
The number I had in my head, she offered me double.
My God.
And I remember, but you know where that comes from? What she offered me was what the going rate was.
Damn.
When you don't know, in your mind, most of us don't base things off of what we're worth. We base things off of what we need. Yeah. So a lot of us are like, man, you give me this much money a month, I'll be good. Yeah. Not realizing that you might be worth more. And mind you, it took me 10 years to learn that. So I'm not even punishing anybody for that. I'm just saying I took what they gave me. Exactly. But I only want to go inside because I looked at myself like a bank. I mean, I looked at myself like a seller to a bank, right? And I went inside because I wanted to know what the bank thought. Because how many people you see say, I got the next Beyonce, and it's like, well, damn, what was it about Beyonce? Because like I said, I always knew I didn't know much. So if somebody told me I got the next Usher, how can I say you have the next Usher unless I go to the person, work for the person who had the real Usher? And that's how I looked at it. So I wanted to work for L.A. Reid. Yeah. Because I wanted to learn, why'd you sign TLC? Why'd you sign Usher? Why'd you sign this guy? Like, why'd you sign Outkast? Goody Mob. And mind you, he told me everything. Like, he literally was like, oh, this is why I signed him. This is why I signed. Oh, this is why I signed. I remember I was trying to get a girl group signed, and LA was like, they not it. And I was like, what? And I was like, but TLC, da. He said, don't you ever say nothing about TLC. No. Mind you, he checked me, but it was dope because like I said, I don't mind. Like, I'm only speaking from a standpoint of somebody who don't know.
Yeah.
Like, once you know if you fuck up, you just a loser.
Yeah.
But when you don't know, people give you a pass. Like, if, you feel me? So I was like, man, but TLC, da. He was like, don't you ever say about TLC. And I said, what was it so dope about them besides they were beautiful girls and that you knew you could make the records? And he was like, have you ever heard a voice like T-Boz?
Ooh.
Nah. He said, me neither. And that's why it works. Because she had that ill voice, that you had that energy from Left Eye, then you had Chili that came in with that smoothness, and it was like, damn.
Yeah.
He codified it for me. And a lot of the times in black business, we don't codify things. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing LA did was he codified the industry for me. He helped me understand why you don't have the next Usher. Like, how is he the next Usher? How old is he? Oh, he's 21. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, Usher was on 8702 by the time he was 21. Usher was out here performing for young girls when he was 13.
Yeah.
So if he's going to be the next Usher, he got to start when he's 14, 15. Who was the only person that actually did that and became the next Usher? Chris Brown.
Thanks.
How old was he when he got signed? 15. So you start understanding. See, so I only went on the inside to learn how the buyer thought. Because in my mind, if I know what the buyer thought, I can help my people by giving them the information, and two, I can sell to the buyer. So I didn't even know being a label exec was something that I was going to be doing. 10 years later, I didn't know that. I mean, I always went and worked for people who I knew. Like, that was like, Ray, we need you. And I'm like, honored. Like, you need me? Hell yeah, I'll take it. Because I didn't really know the value of what I did. So now I do, and I'm still humble in it because I know that part of the quality that made me great was my humbleness in it from the jump. So if I lose that, I lost myself and I lost everything going on.
Evaluating yourself though, Ray, coming from the hood and not really having a point of reference on to know exactly what your value was, how did you come to that conclusion of this is the value of Ray Daniels, this is the value of Radar, this is the value of this job and this service?
I'm still coming to the conclusion.
Okay. I'm
not gonna even act like I have it all together. I'm still coming to the conclusion. But what I had to learn, when you from the ghetto, okay, this is a secret, right? I hope if you're a black person and you ain't got no money, if you remember one thing, remember this, what I said. The ghetto influences the entire world.
Thanks.
It's hard to realize your influence when you broke though. So it's hard for you to realize your influence when you broke. So it's hard for you to understand your value when they're just taking it from the few and the proud who get out of it.
Yeah.
Right? But the ghetto is where we come from. Nobody tells the kid that he could dance that there's a million white kids on TikTok that would love these moves if you just monetize yourself.
Woo.
Or Beehive, you seem to have great conversations. Yep. Why don't you put a camera in front of you and a couple of mics and monetize yourself? You can live off that. You'd be like, I could live off that? So you don't know your value when you're in the ghetto. Like, and the thing about us is that, the thing that I understand is that our currency in the black community has always been cool and athletics. Right? It's just to be honest with you, like, I don't care what table you sit at. If there's a black man at the table, that table feels a little cooler.
You ain't lying.
It's just that, but that's our currency. It's just what we bring to the table. Like, Beehive, you're supposed to know what the streets want.
Yeah.
That's what makes you cool.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know what's happening in the streets.
Yeah.
That's what makes you cool. And our currency is cool. So when you start thinking to yourself that they're trying to sell, that's why I said I feel like I can work in any industry. Because y'all trying to sell to this mass audience things that we do with nothing every day.
Yeah.
So not only am I gonna help you guys sell, I'm gonna help them get paid and see their value. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, once I understood that, as long as they're aiming at the hip hop culture, which is not just black people at anymore, which is, you know, once they aim at the hip hop culture, you start realizing our power. It's like, bruh, I don't give a damn if you're running for the president of the United States. You're trying to figure out, how do I get young black people to come vote? I can tell you.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're saying, I'm opening a new restaurant. What's your demo? Okay, cool. Do you realize that wherever black people show up is cool?
Come on.
Then you start realizing, because at the end of the day, outside of a certain industry, most industries is based on cool. Right? Like if you, most industries is based on cool. So in my mind, it's like, if it's the cool restaurant, if it's the cool hotel, if it's the whatever it is, it's still based on a certain caliber of people showing up there. And I'm one of those people. And I understand it from every level, because I was once one of those poor people and I'm no longer one of those poor people. So I understand it on every level.
Come on.
So for me, it's like, once you start realizing your power, it becomes an amazing feeling, because now then you realize you're no longer at the mercy of another culture. You're at the mercy of your own. As long as you stay true to your own, you can't lose.